and the U.S. plans to incorporate cyber warfare in its military arsenal. A Pentagon strategy document released today says the military wants more transparency in its cyber mission to deter potential enemies. A section of the 33-page document discusses the nation's concerns about Chinese cyber espionage against the U.S. Well, Phil Lerner is a cyber warfare and defense operations specialist. He's also an adjunct professor of cybersecurity at St. John University, and he's joining us here in our New York studio. Hi, Phil. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, Debbie. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for coming in, talking about this. So tell me, what is the nature of this announcement, this new strategy? What does it really mean in plain terms?
In plain terms, it means that the U.S. is going to partner with certain private sector companies and entities like In-Q-Tel to provide earlier first strike capabilities, preventing against weaponizing cyber. So taking a piece of malicious code or payload and sending it towards a target and preventing us from being that target or allies from being that target.
And so if I understand it correctly, it really is a shift from a defensive position to more of an offensive position. And that would look like what to our enemy?
So it's a bit psychological to our enemy because of the resources that are behind this. We have the NSA that's engaged pretty covertly in cyber defense operations. There are well-known red or attack and blue defense teams that exist across the government. And this is us, making it clear that we won't tolerate this type of behavior, and we will take groups that are highly trained and experts in tools, techniques, and processes and deploy them early in commands across the military and civilian government to be able to never lose the first strike capability.
Do I understand you correctly, though? What might this look more like, hacking into systems, gaining access into systems that hostile countries toward us don't want us to have access to? Or is this shutting down power plants, shutting down, if you will, gas refineries, something more sinister?
We saw with, Stuxnet and Flame and other pieces of malicious code that had the capability to be weaponized, that were state-sponsored or country-sponsored. So I think all of the above. This is our chance to take the best and the brightest we have in the military across the commands, collaborate with U.S. intelligence to have very strong intelligence and counterintelligence capabilities to avoid the inability to strike back and to have enough early reconnaissance to strike first should that intelligence be high quality.
Which countries would be perhaps high on the list that would be a target for this? We know North Korea, the most recent and historic hack with the Sony corporation.
Yeah, so North Korea, correct. Iran, China, Russia are just a few.
And so tell me this, what are the most common, or how would this change then military tactics, or will it just complement them in some way?
That's a fantastic question. So I think we'll see a seismic shift, an overt shift of taking folks that are in traditional signal or signal intelligence commands and moving them into, from paramilitary in civilian commands strictly into military commands. So they're already working with DoD, but having access to very well developed tools, being trained past what we typically do on the battlefield in traditional warfare. So we have been talking about drone strikes. Those are controlled by a joystick and a pilot in a command. Think about the capability of losing one of those drones and having, missiles aboard.
I would suspect this indeed is the battlefield of the future.
It is.
Yeah. Phil Lerner, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And still to come on Arise America, another day of emotional testimony in the Boston Marathon bombing trial of Johar Tsarnaev as the prosecution rests.